Hey Lisa, so today I was thinking about something we all deal with at some point: paying bills. Whether it's at a restaurant, splitting rent, or settling utilities. It can sometimes be a bit stressful or confusing for people, especially if they aren't sure about the right process or etiquette. What do you think?
Absolutely, John. Paying bills is an everyday part of life, yet it can be complicated, especially when it involves group settings or unfamiliar procedures. I think understanding the language around bills, like the words we use and the right way to handle different situations, can really make things easier. So let's check some keywords. 1. Bill, a statement of money owed for goods or services received. 2. Check, the American term for a bill or statement of charges. 3. Split bill, dividing the total cost among multiple people. 4. Reimbursement, repayment of money spent on behalf of others. 5. Tip, extra money given for good service. 6. Automatic payments, recurring bills paid automatically via bank transfer or online setup. 7. Late payment, paying a bill after the deadline, potentially incurring fees. 8. Service charge, a fee included in the bill for service, sometimes eliminating the need for tips. 9. Digital wallet, mobile apps like Apple Pay, Google Pay, used for fast payments. 10. Fee, additional charges added to the bill. Now, let's dive deep into it. I want to share my experiences and tips, and I'm sure our listeners do too.
Great idea. So let's start with the basics. When someone says bill in everyday life, what comes to mind for you?
Well, a bill is basically a statement that shows how much money you owe for services or goods you've already received. It's like a request for payment. For example, when you go to a restaurant, the waiter brings you the bill, or, as some call it, the check, which lists all the items you ordered and the total amount you need to pay.
Good. And you mentioned check and bill. I've noticed some cultures or regions often prefer one term over the other. In the US, we mostly say check, right?
Yes, that's right. In the US, people usually say check, while in the UK, they typically say bill. But both mean the same thing: the statement of what you owe after a service. It's interesting how terminology varies.
Definitely. Now, when it comes to paying that bill, what are some common methods people use today?
There are quite a few options. Traditional cash is still used, especially in small businesses or street markets. But nowadays, most people prefer paying by credit or debit card, especially in restaurants and shops. Mobile payment apps like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and other digital wallets are also very popular because they're quick and convenient.
Yeah, I use my phone for payments quite a lot, especially with a busy lifestyle. It saves so much time. But do you think that digital payments have made paying bills easier or more complicated?
In general, I think they've made it easier to keep track of expenses and pay bills on time since many platforms send notifications or reminders. But at the same time, sometimes it can be confusing for people new to digital payments or those who don't like technology. Plus, there's the risk of fraud if not careful.
That's a good point. So whether paying online or in person, always double check the details before confirming the payment, right?
Exactly. Always review your bill for accuracy. It's common to find mistakes like mischarged items or extra fees. If you see anything wrong, don't hesitate to ask questions or request a correction before paying.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about splitting a bill. That's always a tricky situation. How do you handle it when you go out with friends or colleagues?
Splitting bills. It can be simple or complicated, depending on the group and the situation. My rule of thumb is to clarify from the start. If everyone agrees to split evenly, then it's straightforward. Just divide the total by the number of people.
But what if some people ordered more expensive dishes or drinks?
Good question. In that case, some groups prefer to split based on what each person ordered. That means each person pays for their own items. Others just split everything evenly to keep it simple, especially if the group is close friends or family. Clear communication beforehand helps avoid awkwardness.
Do you think that splitting evenly is always fair?
Not necessarily. Sometimes one person might have ordered a steak and another just coffee, so splitting evenly could feel unfair to the person who ordered less. That's why in some places people settle up with individual payments, or one person pays the entire bill and others reimburse their share later.
Yeah, I've been in situations where the server brings the check and everyone just hands over their portion or pays together with their cards.
That's common. Also, some restaurants now have split bill features built into their systems, allowing each person to pay their part separately from their device, which is super convenient.
Oh, yeah, tips. That's always a part of paying the bill when you're dining out. In the US, tipping around 15 to 20% of the total bill is standard for good service, but I know in some other countries, tipping isn't always expected or is handled differently.
Exactly. For example, in some European countries, service charges are included in the bill, so tipping is optional or minimal. It's always good to check local customs, but generally, if you're happy with the service, leaving a tip is a nice gesture to show appreciation.
And even if it's included, sometimes people still leave an extra tip if the service was exceptional. It's part of the social etiquette, right?
Yes, it's a way to acknowledge good service. Also, tips aren't just in restaurants. You tip the delivery driver, taxi driver, hotel staff, and others who provide personal services. It's an everyday way to show gratitude.
Now, in terms of handling these tips, do you prefer to add it on your card or give cash directly?
I think both are acceptable. When possible, I prefer adding it to my card for convenience, especially if I don't carry cash. But cash tips can sometimes be preferable when you want to ensure the person gets the full amount immediately.
Makes sense. And speaking of paying bills online, I think one of the biggest modern shifts is automating payments, like setting up automatic bank transfers for rent or utility bills. What's your take on that?
I think automation is very helpful for managing recurring bills. It reduces the risk of forgetting due dates, avoids late fees, and keeps your finances organized. However, it's important to regularly check your bank statements to verify that payments are correct and that there's enough money in your account.
Absolutely. Nothing worse than paying a bill automatically and discovering you don't have enough funds. That can cause overdraft fees or other issues.
Right. Planning ahead and keeping track of your expenses helps prevent surprises. Also, some bills, like credit card payments, can be paid directly through the bank's app or website, which saves time and effort.
Now, let's talk about what happens if someone can't pay a bill on time. What advice would you give?
First, communicate. If you're going to be late or can't pay, contact the company or service provider. Many companies are willing to work out payment plans or extensions if you explain your situation honestly. Ignoring bills can lead to late fees, damage to your credit score, or service disconnections.
That's very important. Being proactive saves a lot of trouble later. And sometimes negotiating can help reduce the total amount owed or get waived fees.
Exactly. It's better to discuss and find a solution rather than ignore the problem. Plus, keeping records of your communications can be useful if disputes arise.
Definitely. Now, I think we've covered most aspects of paying bills, from the vocabulary and methods to etiquette and problem solving. Do you have any final tips for our listeners?
Yes, stay organized. Keep track of your bills, due dates, and payments. Use reminders or automatic payments if possible. And always review your bills for accuracy before paying. That way, your experience with paying bills will be smooth and stress-free.
Well said. And I'd add, don't be shy about asking questions or clarifying anything about a bill or payment process. It's your money, after all.
Absolutely. The more informed you are, the better you can manage your finances confidently.
Thanks for this insightful chat, Lisa. I hope everyone listening finds it helpful.
Me too, John. Paying bills might not be the most exciting topic, but it's a crucial part of everyday life. The better we handle it, the less stress we have.
So if you enjoyed this conversation, please support us by liking, commenting your thoughts, sharing this episode with your friends, and subscribing for more helpful discussions.
Yes, your support helps us keep bringing valuable content. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on Everyday Conversations.
Goodbye.